you're going to have the opportunity to talk about those things in a different part. So only stick with one idea in your thesis statement. You're talking about one thing in the paper, stick to that one thing. The next thing that your thesis is going to be is a statement. And if you remember the rules of statements from middle school or possibly even elementary school, should end with a period. All right, no question marks. Don't even use exclamation points because that would be just too intense for an introduction. Just a period statement. It is not a question. If you have a question in your introduction, I'm assuming that it's a part of your hook or something, because it definitely is not going to be your thesis because it's a statement, right? So, one thing that'll help you to kind of keep that in mind is also realizing that a thesis is a definitive claim. All right. So basically, this means that you're not being wishy washy about your topic. You're not, hemming and hawing about it. So you're not saying things like, you know, people probably maybe should eat a healthy diet, right? A definitive claim is you are approaching your thesis like it is fact, like it is gospel law. So people need to eat a healthy diet in order to lengthen their life or something. Um, Next year you'll be doing the school issue essay, which is all about, uh, a problem or issue we can fix at Pacelli. And not saying, I think Pacelli should have home economic classes, but actually saying in a definitive statement, Pacelli Catholic High School must have home economics classes as an elective or as electives. All right? You're stating it as if it is fact, as if you are the authority on that topic, because in this paper you are the authority. All right? Um, so in the case of this paper, you'd say there are similarities and differences between the I Have a Dream speech and Dangerous Single Story. No question about it. Okay, so that leads me to what thesis statements are not. And even after I go over this material, I usually have one or two kids that try to sneak some of these things by, or maybe they just didn't get the memo about the other rules. Anyway, but here's what thesis statements are not. They are not questions, based on the very simple fact that they are thesis statements. But no questions. Absolutely not a question. Like I said, if you want to use a question in your hook as sort of a way to get the thoughts or thinking of the audience flowing, that is fine. But you are using this essay as a way to be the expert on the topic, and so you need to say what you need to say in a statement. All right. Next, thesis statements are not multiple statements or ideas in one place. We already talked about that, the one idea thing. All right. You need to encapsulate what your paper is about in one single idea, one single sentence. Because it's a definitive claim, you are not saying, I think that Pacelli should open campus for all students. When you do that, it leads your audience to think something like, well, who cares what you think, right? Or why should we care what you think? Who are you? It just sounds wishy-washy, is what I'm saying. It sounds not confident, and thesis statements need to be confident. Same thing with, I believe that, all right, it's great that you believe it, but actually make it a statement. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. All right. The last thing, what they are not, is meta statements. And what this means is when something is meta, that means that it's referencing itself, right? Or it's talking about itself. And you don't want to do that, all right? When Mr. Gehrman, when he talks about this stuff, he says it's sort of a crutch, all right? Meta statements are a crutch because it makes it automatically look like I don't know how to write thesis statements, so I'm just going to write something like, in this paper, I will. All right, that's a meta statement. Your paper is talking about your paper. It's weird, all right? Or this essay talks about, don't do that, all right? It sounds really, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe juvenile, like low writing skill, all right? So figure out what your paper is talking about in your mind and then write a statement without these things that gets that idea across. All right, so for the example I was using before, the meta statement would be, this essay talks about how Pacelli Catholic Schools needs to open campus for all students. Eliminate the meta statement and say, Pacelli Catholic Schools needs to open up campus for all students. Bam, you got it. All right, so make extra special certain that you are keeping these rules in mind. The last thing I'm going to talk about is something that people still sort of struggle with, and it's called the point preview. Again, I don't know what maybe past teachers might have called it, if they called it anything. But the point preview is basically a sentence or two that covers the points that you're going to be making in the paragraphs of your essay. All right. So it's just kind of like giving your audience a way to anticipate what they're going to read. All right. So let's say my thesis statement is, there are many similarities and differences between Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream and Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. All right. The audience with just that statement knows that you're going to be talking about something about I Have a Dream and something about To Kill a Mockingbird. But here you're breaking down what exactly it is. Right? So you're previewing that one of your paragraphs is going to be about, these texts are similar in that they both highlight the evils of racism and discrimination. So you know that there's going to be a paragraph about both of them talking about racism and discrimination. But they are different in that Mockingbird teaches the lesson through fictional characters, while I Have a Dream is based on Martin Luther King's true experiences. All right? So this sentence is letting your audience know what to expect or what to look for. So when you write a point preview, make sure that you are always keeping in mind what you actually are going to be writing about in your body paragraph, because one thing you don't want to do is write a point preview and then talk about completely different things in your essays, because then your audience is going to be like, wait, I thought we were going to talk about racism and discrimination and these differences in how they talk about it, but really your paper is about something totally different. So one strategy that might actually work for you is to write your paper and then go back and insert your point preview, because you already know what you have already talked about, and all you have to do is just kind of summarize it in like a sentence or two at the end of your introduction paragraph. All right, that's what I got. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, please let me know. At this point, I'm not asking you to write your introduction, but I just want to go over these things to make you aware of what is coming and, kind of what the expectations are. So thank you much. Have a great day.